Jimmy High Roller released this video 4 days ago. Are NBA players getting too good at basketball? Very interesting question, given the fact that a lot of people think that the NBA is the most talented it's ever been. Is it hurting the game? And things of that nature.
Michael Jordan finished his last season with the Bulls on top, as inarguably the best player in the world, with another NBA championship to back it up. And in that season, 26 years ago, Jordan averaged 28.7 points per game on 46% shooting from the field. Now, not only was his scoring average a league high that season, his shooting efficiency was considered excellent at the time. In fact, outside of a couple big men who played 5 feet out from the basket, there wasn't a single player who could compete with him as a scorer.
Right.
But times have changed, because this season, there are 7 players across the NBA who are averaging at least the numbers Jordan did in his final MVP season. But there are not 7 players as good as Michael Jordan was in the NBA right now. Is there? Are the stats of today's NBA inflated, not a true reflection of the skills and abilities of its players? Or have NBA players gotten too good at basketball?
To answer the question, did they get too good at basketball? I don't think so. I think pace has played a lot with it. The 3-ball revolution has contributed a lot to the stats being the way that they are, and some of the rules as well. So
in basketball, there is one main objective: score more points than the other team. Sounds simple enough, but it's not. And generally, there are 2 ways you can go about this. Play stifling defense and keep your opponent's points as low as possible, or get buckets. NBA teams of today tend to lean towards option number 2. And they've gotten really good at it. Teams scoring 120, 130 points on a regular basis, even 140-point games, oftentimes occurring on the same night. But for many NBA fans who grew up on an NBA where point totals looked like this, they are not a big fan of all the scoring. They don't like it. There's too many points, or maybe not enough defense. Stat lines like this used to have the NBA world on fire for a day or 2, but now they're literally a dime a dozen. There's players...
Bro, I remember when a triple-double was crazy, bro. Like, I remember, like, when Rondo would get, like, 12, 10, and 10, right? Timeline would go crazy. Not timeline, but, like, I don't know, Facebook, right? I don't know, Facebook or Instagram. I don't know, Sports Center. Yo, y'all see Rondo put up a triple-double last night? Like, that shit was crazy. I remember when 30 meant something. I remember when 30 was, oh, shit, bro, dropped 30 tonight. Like, that's kind of crazy. But now, I am honestly surprised when some people don't hit 30. Like, I look at Embiid, I look at a Sixers box score, and I see Embiid score 27. Oh, that's it? Like, Embiid had a calm little game. You know, like, the standards now is crazy, man.
Around the league who are damn near averaging these numbers. Growing up, I would often go to Portland Trail Blazers games, and as much fun as it was to watch my home team play the most violent version of basketball possible without any real consequence, the real prize in my 8-year-old brain was this: a free chalupa from Taco Bell. All the Blazers had to do was score 100 points. Win or lose, 100 points, and the chalupa was ours. It doesn't look like much, but winning one of these felt like winning the lottery. We would get so riled up over the prospect of a free chalupa that many nights the crowd would just...
I remember getting hyped that Jordan Poole was averaging 20 in his breakout year, and some guy was like, why are you hyping mid? And I realized shit was different now.
Lose sight of the game altogether and start chanting chalupa as the score approached 100. But tragically, after 14 seasons, the Blazers discontinued this delicious promotion in 2013. And I think it's safe to say it's never coming back. When Taco Bell first began running this promotion, the Blazers were scoring over 100 points at home about 11 times a season, or about 1 in every 4 home games. Attainable, but still rare enough to keep the thrill of it all alive. But by 2020, the Blazers scored 100 points or more in 39 out of 41 home games, enough to put every local Taco Bell out of business. Is this entire monologue really about chalupas? Kind of. But I say all of this to emphasize just how much scoring in the NBA has exploded and shows no signs of slowing down. NBA offenses in today's league are really, really good. Back in 2015, the Golden State Warriors reshaped what a potent, efficient offense looks like and led the league that season with an offensive rating of 111.6. This season, that same offense would rank 26th in the league, only ahead of 4 atrociously bad teams. A decade ago, in 2014, the league saw a combined 24 occurrences of teams scoring at least 130 points in a single game. This season, there have already been 85 occurrences of teams scoring at least 130 points. And the league as a whole is on pace to have about 265 of these games by the end of the season. That's more than 10 times more than the league had back in 2014. Now, a lot of fans assume that the insane point totals we're seeing around the league today are simply a byproduct of stat inflation. The game is faster. No one cares about defense. Every other shot is a three-pointer. But it's not just inflation. Inflation would assume that it's just the volume that's changing, that there are more things happening within every game, and that's what's leading to the influx in numbers. But it's not that. Other than the dead ball era, right now is a pretty average time in the league in terms of pace and shots. It is the efficiency and simply how good players have gotten that has really skyrocketed.
But I think, to his point though, I said this in the stream a while back. I think we need to reevaluate the numbers of the 2000s and 1990s as the outlier in NBA history. Because in the 60s, it was high pace. 70s, high pace. 80s, high pace. Then it slowed down in the 90s. Then it slowed down in the 2000s. Then it was still slow for half of the 2010s. And now we have reverted back to high-paced basketball. So we're talking about out of the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s. Out of the 7 decades in basketball, 2.5 of those decades being slow-paced, I would just argue, the game is built to be fast-paced. The game is built to be fast-paced. So.
Skyrocketed. The dead ball era of the NBA, as the name not so subtly suggests, was an era of slow, physical, grinded-out basketball, where games would finish with a final score that, without exaggeration, resemble a halftime score in today's NBA. If we look at the timeline of the NBA and the amount of points teams have scored on average over the last 65 seasons, it's not hard to pinpoint where the league came to a grinding halt offensively. This valley right here, from about 1997 to 2006, is a visual representation of just how slow and drawn out offenses became throughout the dead ball era. And thanks to new rules such as a shortened shot clock on offensive rebounds and innovations in offensive schemes, and of course the evolution of the three-pointer, offenses are now alive and well again. But contrary to popular belief, it wasn't just a change in the rules that favor offense that spurred this explosion in production. Players also just got better at scoring the ball. Because here is the league average effective field goal percentage throughout that same time span. For decades, the league as a whole floated somewhere between 45 and 48 effective field goal percentage. And with little change in efficiency, it was the pace that more or less dictated how productive offenses would be. But over the last decade, the league...
Yo, side note, do y'all know how many subs Sage is at right now? I know he crossed 3K. Shout out to Big Sage, by the way. But he owes me 20 gifted at a certain point. And apparently he already at 3K. And apparently it was through the 2K sim. Do y'all know what total that is? Because he owes me. He owes me money. Type shit. He's almost at 3.5? Oh, hell nah. Nah, he owes me. He already owes me? He already owes me? Nah. Oh, shit. That's funny as fuck,
become better and more efficient at scoring the ball, reaching a league-wide average effective field goal percentage of nearly 55%.
They drop 100 gifted? Watch Sage not stream the rest of December. No, he still owes me. The deal was What was the deal, chat? 3-5? 3-5 by the end of the year if he does the 2K shit? Yeah. He said he owes you, but not to tell you. Ah. You thought I forgot, buddy. Yeah. I'm gonna call him later.
Over the last few seasons. Now, of course, with more threes, efficiency inevitably increases almost at a linear rate. But today's players also turn the ball over less than ever before. They shoot free throws better than ever before while shooting less free throws than ever before. Across the board, players are simply better now than they were in past eras. And this becomes clear when we look at the league average offensive rating over the last 50 years. Even when we level the playing field and look at offensive production per 100 possessions, today's teams are vastly superior than their predecessors. Just 20 years ago, teams were averaging just 102 points per 100 possessions. Today, that number has jumped all the way to 115 points. Same exact pace, same number of possessions, far more points. Now,
I'm gonna be honest, chat. If I were just to answer, are NBA players getting too good at basketball? I wouldn't say too good, but NBA players are definitely better now. And I think that's just the product of iteration throughout time. As time moves on, you have more time, more innovators, more players that figure out the best way to play basketball. So, like, you know, think about it with an iPhone, right? When the iPhone first came out, revolutionary as shit. When the iPhone 4 came out, revolutionary as shit. You might even say, based off of, you know, relative to era, the iPhone 4 might be the greatest iPhone of all time. But through optimization, through updates, through learning users, the iPhone 15 Pro is the best iPhone of all time. Like, you can't really deny that fact. Just technologically speaking, from a performance standpoint, it is just the best. Is it the greatest? Is it the best though? Yes. So with the NBA, I think it's a similar thing of like, with how, you know, guards are getting taller. So number one, the 3-point shooting and the spacing revolution. Now you got to be a shooter. Like a bunch of players in the league need to be shooters. You need to have shooting ability to make it to the league and be effective, right? Unless you have like a very outlier skill like Zion or some shit, right? Number two, guards are getting taller. So, you know, there's this revolution of, why stick with the 6-foot point guard when you can get those same skills from a 6'6" point guard that'll allow you to be, that'll allow you to have much more lineup flexibility and much more defensive versatility. Why not do that, right? On the other side of the spectrum, from the centers, why settle for the big man who can't shoot? Why settle for the big man who can't pass? Why settle for the slow-footed big man when there are big men out there who can't shoot, who can pass, who still can dominate in the post, who still can dominate in the paint, who still can be an elite rim protector and do all of these things? You know what I'm saying? Even from like the wing position, why settle for a 6'6" shooting guard when you can get those skills from a 6'9" shooting guard? So yeah, I do think the game, from a position standpoint, I guess is the way to word it. Like, yeah, everything is better now. I can't deny that.
More points from more proficient offenses is not exactly what I would call a problem. In fact, I think this brand of basketball, whether you like it or not, is the highest form of the game that we've ever seen. But as we continue to see the game evolve, it is becoming more and more difficult to keep the context of what we're seeing intact. Luka Doncic is a generational talent, one of the best players in the world. And 20 years ago, Tracy McGrady was one of the best players in the world with a similar status among his peers. Except in his prime, McGrady's numbers looked like this. And over the past 5 seasons, Luka's numbers look like this. Is Luka really this much better than a prime Tracy McGrady was? Or has the game and its players evolved to the point where stats have almost become some arbitrary measure of a player's ability, where without context, they are almost meaningless? Now, some of you may be saying, well, this isn't a fair comparison. Tracy hit his prime in the dead ball era.
That's always been the case, though. That's always been the case. Stats are meaningless without context. They're just numbers, like deadass. Stats are literally just meaningless without numbers. Like per 36. I need to bring back that debate at some point in 2024. Is per 36 a hypothetical stat? Yeah, I'm bringing it back at some point. I'm gonna argue that to death though. If there's one basketball debate I can argue to death, it's the per 36 debate. But it's cool, man. It's cool.
Teams and players in general put up less numbers. Well, here are their stats when we adjust them to be the same exact pace and the same number of possessions. And still, it's only when we factor in the rule changes, the spacing, the schemes, the drastic change in overall league play.
Here y'all go. Y'all want to start a fucking war? I'm not doing it today, all right? Don't test me on that. Cause that's when I get the gatekeeping and bring out the computer science degree. All right? Yeah, buddy.
Play style that we can even begin to get the full picture, which kind of defeats the simplicity of a box score altogether. Or what about De'Aaron Fox? Fox is a great player, but the 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists he's averaging right now on 58% true shooting is a historically great stat line. In fact, it's so great that if we exclude the last 5 seasons, the only guards in the history of the league to average these numbers in a season were James Harden, Michael Jordan, and Stephen Curry. Are the numbers simply deceiving us? Or is De'Aaron Fox really this special? 10 years ago, in 2014, guess what LeBron James and Kevin Durant had in common? They were the only 2 players in the league to average at least 25 and 5 a game that season.
It's not even a projection. It's cool though. It's cool. That's not what the video is about. It's not even a projection. It's just a fact. It's a fact, but it's cool, man.
20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists used to be sort of a standard for a fantastic all-around player. In today's league, there are 16 players around the league averaging at least 25 and 5.
Holy shit. That is a lot of fucking players, man. Because I was looking at it, I mean, when you name like these 5, I'm like, hey, they are great all-around players. And then I start seeing the Pascal Siakams of the world. No, brother.
How exactly do we reconcile the fact that what used to be a threshold reserved for mega offensive talent is now just another stat line? And this is happening all around the league right now. Tyrese Halliburton is averaging 26 and 12 on 66% true shooting this season, a stat line that has never been achieved in the history of the league. Are there really this many generational talents in the NBA today? Or has offense just become diluted? Well, I actually think these massive numbers are a product of both of these factors. One stemming from
J-Break, hey B-Dog, how's my melanin related brother doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great. Last stream of the year type shit.
The other. There is so much talent and firepower in the NBA today that getting good looks and getting them quickly has actually become fairly easy. Sure, there's essentially 8 more possessions a game in today's league compared to the previous era, and those extra possessions are driving numbers up a bit. But does anyone stop to consider why there are more possessions? Games have been sped up because no longer are teams running 20-second offensive sets and eating up the clock to find a good open look. This drives up the number of possessions each game, and those possessions
because why not shoot that shit, right? Instead of dumping it down in the post to Shaq, wasting 10 seconds for them to collapse and then pass out. Yeah, just, hey, Terrence Mann is wide open right there. 12 seconds left. Like, let's just, why not let it fly, right?
Feed the loop even further. Great offense leading to quick possessions, leading to faster games, leading to more points. Defense today isn't terrible. Players have just become too good at offense. Offense has been the driving force and the primary emphasis on the league for a decade now. And over that decade, the game has evolved, and so has its players, with playstyles tailor-made to wreak havoc on defenses.
God, yo, Desmond Bain got cooked. Oh my God. Oh my God. But yeah, it is a different era, man. It's honestly sad, but I don't know. It's sad, but I appreciate it type shit. Cause it literally, like, I remember when 30 meant something. I remember when a triple-double meant something. I remember when a dunk meant something. When I saw someone dunk in a basketball game, I was like, oh shit, that rare-ass play happened. I feel like now it's too common. A 3 used to mean something. Oh my God, he got a 3. Ah! Now it's literally every possession. You know, like, I understand it, but I do miss the time when the game was perfectly imperfect. You see what I'm saying? But
and so has its players, with playstyles tailor-made to wreak havoc on defense.
Oh my God, Bane is on the floor.
Over the years, great offensive players have proven that once your offensive game gets to a certain point, there's only so much a defense can do to slow it down. And instead of there being a handful of these unstoppable offensive players in the league at any given time, like we saw in previous eras, there are now dozens of players of this caliber all around the league. In the 90s, it was Jordan, Malone, Hakeem, D-Rob. Not just good offensive weapons, but truly elite. In the 2000s, it was Kobe, T-Mac, Shaq, Iverson. The 2010s had LeBron, Durant, Harden, Curry. But now, in the current era of the NBA, these elite offensive weapons are everywhere. Embiid, Luka, Giannis, Shea, Durant, Fox, Curry, Booker, Mitchell, Tatum, Jokic, Trey, Halliburton, Maxey, LeBron, Dame, AD, Edwards, Kawhi, PG, LaMelo, Brunson, Kyrie, Sabonis. All of them.
Polar bear in Austin, Texas chat? No. Yo, he tried to sneak in Sabonis in there, bro. Stop it. Stop. Yo, stop it, man. I was seeing a lot of great players on my screen, and then I see Sabonis. Please, bro, please.
Mac, Shaq, Iverson. The 2010s had LeBron, Durant, Harden, Curry. But now, in the current era of the NBA, these elite offensive weapons are everywhere. Embiid, Luka, Giannis, Shea, Durant, Fox, Curry, Booker, Mitchell, Tatum, Jokic, Trey, Halliburton, Maxey, LeBron, Dame, AD, Edwards, Kawhi, PG, LaMelo, Brunson, Kyrie, Sabonis. All of them.
It just doesn't make sense because he said elite, all right? And when you're grouping all these players in the same tier, because that's what he's doing. To put Jokic and Sabonis in the same tier, come on, dog. What are we doing? Maxey too? Come on, man. Like, Kyrie, come on, man.
Them legitimately unstoppable offensive talents from night to night. And that's just the highest tier. It doesn't even include guys like Morant, Zion, Bane, Mark, and
wait. Sabonis over Ja? What are we doing?
And Ingram, Cam Thomas, Randall, Jaylen Brown, Kat, Sengun, Scotty, Garland, Paulo, Siakam, Butler, Mikal Bridges. The league is more talented now than ever before.
Nah, he really snuck in Sabonis, though. Listen, that was just funny.
So how do you stop all that talent? You don't. You just try to keep up. Between a massive change in the way young players are being taught to play the game, to new advanced analytics that have opened the doors to the best statistical options for teams around the league, to advancements in health and training regimens that have allowed older players to be at the top of their game longer than ever before, all factors building up to what has become the most loaded pool of talent in NBA history. But how do we know when it's gone too far? Look up just how much teams are scoring these days, and you'll also be met with a slew of angry fans, mourning the loss of the game they once loved. After the dead ball era, the league has taken so many steps.
They always do that, bro. They always do that. They were saying that about the early 2010s. What happened to the 90s basketball? And now here we are. Oh, what happened to early 2010s basketball? So what's good, N2Zs? What's good, man?
Steps to boost offense that maybe they've overcooked the recipe. Maybe there's too much offense in today's league. But is all of this offense artificial? A product of rules that simply push for more offense? Or have the skills and small nuances used by offensive greats in the past been optimized and perfected in players of today? Were defenses bad for letting Michael Jordan average 30 a game in a league where entire teams only averaged 90? In arguably the toughest time to score a bucket, Kobe scored 81 points.
That is crazy though, right? In a league where the average points per game was 90, Jordan was scoring 30. What's the league average in points right now? And maybe Jimmy was lying too. League average right now. So yeah, there were period. Okay, maybe he was kind of gassing it. Okay, yeah, Jimmy was kind of gassing, but even right here, Jordan scoring 30 out of 95. That's kind of crazy. Average right now is 115. So what's 30% of that? 115 times 0.3. Oh, that's Embiid. Hey, okay, that's just Embiid. Okay, that's just Embiid. Okay, never mind. Never mind.
On the Raptors. Was that team simply the worst defensive team of all time? Or was Kobe just that unstoppable offensively on that night? Good offense will almost always beat good defense. And right now, there's a whole lot of good offense in the NBA. And it's not a bad thing. In fact, it is a reflection of just how much better players have become and how the game has evolved. The only real downside to all of this, no more free chalupas.
Nah, I feel what he's saying. And I think saying it's bad is kind of but I do think there is something nostalgic, I guess, about the game being perfectly imperfect. Like, there used to be space for the specialists. There still is. I'm not going to act like there isn't. But there is less space for the specialist in the league compared to the 2000s, compared to the 90s. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Even with, like... I just think right now we're in the age of, like, over-optimization. Or not even over-optimization, just extreme optimization with a lot of things. Because... even like with YouTube, bro, 1 million views used to mean something, right? Shout out to anyone who's been watching YouTube for a minute now, but like 1 million views used to break YouTube. Oh shit, this video got 1 million views. Now 1 million views is normal. Now I scroll on YouTube and see million view videos like it's nothing. Now you got motherfuckers like Mr. Beast normalizing 70 million view videos. Like a typical Mr. Beast upload is 70 million views. You know what I'm saying? Even on Twitch, and maybe this is just me and I was just new to the game, seeing someone with 10,000 concurrent viewers, seeing Flight having 14,000 concurrent viewers a couple years ago was like, yo, what the fuck? Flight got 14K right now. And now we're in an age where Kai's averaging 40. And it's not just Kai. Like, Queso's averaging 46. Jinxie's averaging 50. You know what I'm saying? Speed's averaging 60. Type shit. And now the high end of things is Kai Cenat averaging 300,000 concurrent viewers. I think as time moves on, innovation and optimization is just natural. I think it is natural for humans to just strive for better. It is just natural for humans to try to improve on things, to try to be better than things. And maybe it's not natural, but it is incentivized by, and maybe I don't want to have this discussion, but I do, capitalism. Capitalism, man. Listen, wins brings in money. Stars bring in money. So how do we win more games? How do we make more stars? Therefore, how do we make more money? It all comes back to money, man. It all comes back to money, man. I ain't gonna lie. All comes back to money.